हेलो ऑनलाइन वालों, एम आई ऑडिबल और डू आई नीड अ माइक? आवाज आ रही है मेरी? परफेक्ट. ऑफलाइन वालों, इज दिस ओके और डू आई नीड अ माइक? दिस इज गुड. चलो, गुड मॉर्निंग. डे वन. So I'm starting a tad late, but next time onward we'll start at 7. Paper 20. So let me first introduce the paper to you. Less paper and more what we are going to do. The topic derivatives. अगर 11th-12th मैथ्स किया है तो हो चुका है. Correct? For the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you a brief overview, and then that will answer your own questions, which is, sir, karna ya nahi karna? It's completely up to you. And why, I'll tell you. So number one, derivatives has jumped from foundation to inter to final to inter to final. So when I started teaching the paper in the 2008 syllabus, calculus was in foundation. There was no calculus in the inter. There was no calculus in final. After that, in the 2012 syllabus, इंटर से फाउंडेशन से निकाल दिया और इंटर में आ गया था. इन द 2016 syllabus, दोनों से निकाल के फाइनल में आ गया. एंड इन दिस 2022 syllabus नाउ फाउंडेशन में है एंड फाइनल में है, इंटर में नहीं है. Is my voice only breaking for Ria, or is it breaking for anybody else? Because this is the only one internet connection that I have. Is my voice breaking for anybody else apart from Ria? रिया, आप अपना ही कनेक्शन चेक कर लो जरा. सो नाउ वी आर डूइंग इट इन फाइनल्स. और फाइनल्स में भी बहुत पेपर जंप मारा है, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ माय टॉपिक्स जंप अ लॉट ऑफ पेपर्स. दैट इज व्हाई एवरी अटेम्प्ट आई हैव एब्सोल्युटली नो आइडिया वेयर माय टॉपिक लाइव्स. फॉर्चुनेटली दिस टाइम, लास्ट टाइम भी पेपर 20 था, अभी भी पेपर 20 है, बट विद अ स्मॉल डिफरेंस. And the difference is the way it is put out in the module, and hence the way it is asked in the exam. So to begin with, I have shared with you in the group the 2016 syllabus paper 20 module. Can you open that for me, please? The 2016 syllabus paper 20 module, which is the same strategic cost management. ऑनलाइन वालों, मैंने ग्रुप में भेजा है, कर लो डाउनलोड जरा. So if you have it open with you, in the syllabus section 2016, economic efficiency of a firm करके एक section आता है, which is section 3, is where derivatives is put out. तो अगर पेज नंबर वाइज मांगो तो it starts somewhere around page number 69. इनका 69 तो मेरा 75 टाइप्स कुछ होना चाहिए, है क्या? नहीं, still far. Economic efficiency of a firm. Now, when it was put out in the previous syllabus, बहुत detail में डाला गया था. And when I say बहुत detail, I mean crazy detail. They started off with everything that you do in price and demand, which is elasticity, and then elasticity in the most minutest detail that you can do, which very honestly I don't understand because never been a commerce student. But after that, the derivative section of it, so this is all theory, and then after that, when the math bit of it starts, usme that elasticity I understand because that's derivative based elasticity. Usme there were crazy number of questions that were put out. So when the question section starts, which is should roughly start now somewhere after all the theory. Which is from here. Techniques and application of economics. So यहाँ से starts the mathematics bit of it, the calculus bit of it, rather the derivatives bit of it. So यहाँ पे what you do as a marginal cost, what you do is in maximum profit. Like I believe you all do some relationship that says when average cost is equal to marginal cost, profit is maximum, something like that. We do something different in mathematics. Like in derivatives, we have a different approach of looking at it. So now the derivatives based approach is written and start the questions. So now when the questions start, again, questions are also in as detail as possible. जिसमें थोड़ा सा पार्शियल डेरिवेटिव भी था और थोड़ा सा इंटीग्रेशन भी डाला हुआ था. And then this section started, like questions started from page 101 and then went on. So they went on to a good 30 questions, if I'm correct. So this keeps going on into derivatives, cost functions. It was very well put. There was massive coverage and very well put. So then this kept going on. Like I said, roughly around 30 questions. There were sub questions also. तो सब मिला के 30-32 क्वेश्चंस डेफिनेटली होते थे, राइट अप टिल योर वापस इलास्टिसिटी था. ऑल ऑफ दिस व्हिच आई विल डिस्कस लेटर आल्सो इन अ लिटिल डिटेल. ऑल आई वांट यू टू डू इज लुक एट द क्वेश्चंस. ये हो गया क्वेश्चन नंबर 31 वाज द लास्ट क्वेश्चन. अब आते हैं, नहीं 32 भी है, सॉरी वो 34 भी है. हाँ, इसके बाद स्टार्ट्स इंटीग्रेशन. दैट इज व्हाई आई डिड नॉट वांट टू डिस्कस इट. Now, all this is the past syllabus module, the past syllabus question paper. In the same group, I have shared with you, which I always do in Inter also, which is a combined group of question papers in that syllabus. तो 16 के syllabus में क्या-क्या papers हुए थे वो. But this will only be up till 2019. उसके आगे वाले papers मैंने इसमें attach नहीं किए, वो independently discuss किए थे, तो इसमें add नहीं हुए. But I want to show you that number one, MCQ में एक question पूछा है. This is on that concept of economics of optimization. MCQ में एक proper question पूछा है. This is also economics of optimization. With these two questions, later there is a proper descriptive question. तो अब यहाँ पे MCQ is 2 marks each. तो ये 2 और 2 4 mark हुआ. And then after that, यहाँ पे it is 4-4 8. तो ये ऊपर वाला क्वेश्चन इज 4, नीचे वाला क्वेश्चन इज 4. तो वो 4 और ये 4 8 मार्क हो जाता है, विच इज इफ यू आस्क मी डिसेंट कवरेज. और फिर इसके बाद यू विल नॉट सी एनी क्वेश्चन बिकॉज वो 2 पार्ट में होता है. वो बिजनेस वैल्यूएशन चालू हो जाता है. इन दैट पार्ट देयर इज नो इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ ऑप्टिमाइजेशन. दैट वाज पेपर 1. पेपर 2, व्हाटएवर द पेपर इज, अगेन वन थ्योरी क्वेश्चन along with that one proper descriptive question. और ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है सीधा 8 मार्क के लिए. So like this, if you now go to see now, everywhere, every paper, you will see a 4-8 mark coverage. Almost every paper में 8 मार्क के questions है ही है इस चैप्टर के in the old syllabus. So this is the third paper जिसमें एक बड़ा सा क्वेश्चन था. ये क्वेश्चन 3A सीधा 12 मार्क. 4 और 8 12 दिख रहा है. So this was asked for 12 marks. Now I don't want to waste time discussing the rest of the papers, but you get the gist. So it starts with 8 marks और 12 mark तक जाता है. The way it was put out in the module was also massive, and when they asked it also, they asked it on a massive scale. तो पूछा भी गया था and छापा भी अच्छे कैपेसिटी में है. Now coming to your new paper module. तो नया वाला मॉड्यूल खोल दो जरा, लेके आओ तुम लोग. Have you brought the module? ये तुम्हें जस्ट शेयर किया ना. Now, in your new module, paper 20, it is put out in the first section only, obviously. In the first section, it says economic efficiency of a firm, 10% likha hai, correct? Now, 10% of 100 marks is 10 marks. Unfortunately, now it is not put out as extensively as it was before. Page 131 to page 150. यहाँ से चालू होता है economic efficiency of a firm. Now, this time when it is put out, it is not put out that extensively in the new syllabus. तो यहाँ पे एक basic cost function, total function का explanation. After that, I think literally 4 questions डाले, where they've written down a concept, done a question. तो यहाँ पे derivatives introduce किया है. This is it in as short as possible. फिर एक example लिखा है, total cost, total variable cost, total fixed cost वगैरह वगैरह. And then they've literally done question number 1. यहाँ पे आ गया, ये question number 1 है. Then there is question number 2, and then there is question number 3, and question number 4, and that pretty much sums up everything for them. That's it. After that, they've introduced partial derivatives, which I don't think is really relevant, and then ये थोड़ा cost matrix किया है, but that's it. So this is it. According to them, हो गया, derivatives cover हो जाता है. So now my problem is that in the past paper, you had there were 32 questions, but there were questions that had sub questions. So there was this one question जिसमें 10 sub question थे, एक question जिसमें 6 sub question थे. तो roughly पूछो तो 50 questions तो definitely थे. You asked for a decent coverage also, right from 8 to 12 marks. 8 से 12 mark के बीच में दिखता था. So it was efforts that you could put and would be useful. We now come to the new module, जिसमें coverage इतना नहीं है, questions आपने डाले नहीं है. You've created a new section called comprehensive questions, जिसमें थोड़े बहुत questions डाल दिए. They've started this new thing. Initially, it was chapter and questions. Now it is chapter, questions, then comprehensive questions, and then some MCQs if you want to, and then case study if there is any. And then they finish the chapter off. अगर पेपर देखने जाओ, past 2, the last 2 papers that happened, मैंने ग्रुप में भेजे हैं, वो भी चाहिए तो खोल के देख सकते हो. Now this is the December 22 paper, which was technically the first paper that happened in the 2022 syllabus. अब इसमें ना MCQ में they have asked one question, which is total revenue function कैसे निकालते हैं, and one question here. So the first question, equilibrium कैसे निकालते हो, and total revenue function कैसे निकालते हो. This is 2 mark के MCQ, and that's it. This is where differentiation for them comes to an end. This is it. इसके बाद there is no question asked, like वहां पे एक descriptive पूछा गया था, there is no question asked, and फिर directly आपका whatever this is, which I absolutely don't understand, and then आ जाता है आपका BVM, and that's it. अगर आप नया पेपर इसके बाद वाला, लाइक द लेटेस्ट पेपर दैट हैपेंड, सो इफ दिस वाज दिसंबर, द जून पेपर दैट हैपेंड, जून वाला पेपर देखोगे तो ये थोड़ा सा नॉट अ वेरी गुड प्रिंट ऑफ द पेपर, बट यहाँ पे एक क्वेश्चन एमसीक्यू में ही पूछा गया है, बट वेरी ऑनेस्टली दिस इज नॉट वेरी हैवी, इट्स अ वेरी बेस, मतलब 1-2 मिनट में हो जाएगा, जिसने किया उसने बंदे ने करके लिख भी दिया है, इट हार्डली टेक्स लाइक अ मिनट टू डू दिस। एंड देर इज वन मोर क्वेश्चन, तो ये पेपर थोड़ा स्क्रैम्बल्ड है, दिस इज पेज 1 एंड पेज 2 हैज गॉन एट द फैग एंड ऑफ द पीडीएफ फॉर सम रीजन, मैंने जहां से डाउनलोड किया आई कुडंट गेट अ बेटर पेपर, आई रियली लुक्ड, और ये था पेज 2 का एक और एमसीक्यू, जहां पे यहाँ पे थोड़ा मैक्सिमम मिनिमा अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, एंड दैट्स इट। So 4 marks there in the December 22 paper, completely and completely theory. 4 marks here, completely and completely practical. Now, if you are somebody जिसने 11-12 derivatives किया है, 11-12 किया है, 11-12 मैथ किया है, तो if you are somebody अगर 11-12 मैथ किया है, तो there is little effort that you have to put in. If you are somebody that hasn't, थोड़ा efforts डालना पड़ेगा. Having said that, I am, if you have done anything with me, इफ यू नो मी इन एनी कैपेसिटी, यू नो कि मैं करने वाला हूँ, और मैं जितना स्क्रैच से हो सके उतना स्क्रैच से करने वाला हूँ। सो नाउ द एज ओल्ड क्वेश्चन जो बाद में आके पूछते हैं, सर ये इतना है तो करना है क्या? कंप्लीटली अप टू यू। आई एम गोइंग टू डू इट फ्रॉम स्क्रैच, आई एम गोइंग टू डू इट इन एज डेप्थ एज पॉसिबल, whether you want to do it or not is completely up to you. There are 4 marks allotted to it, compulsory. अगर दोनों पेपर में 4-4 मार्क्स थे तो 4 मार्क डेफिनेटली है. It's just that it is not going to have the 8 or the 12 mark coverage that it had initially. But you and I both know with your institute, it's never really sure. They might ask for more marks, they might not also. But like I said, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it in full capacity. Is this clear to everyone? Sure. Shall we begin? Let's begin with the paper then. So if there is anything that we need to begin with, we need to begin with derivatives in general. So for at least a few lectures, and the next lecture I would try to have on a Sunday so that I get a longer lecture. We can do like an 8 to 2. The first thing we are going to start with is derivatives. Nothing to do with economic efficiency, nothing to do with anyone's anything. I'm going to start with basic derivatives. After basic derivatives, I'm going to go into a concept called functions. After functions, I'm going to bring together derivatives and functions, and then we are going to come to what is required by them as far as your syllabus is concerned. और अगर 11, if you are a Mumbai University student, और अगर FY BCom किया है, if you are a BCom graduate, तो FY में भी हो चुका है. This you have done exactly in the same capacity in FY BCom also, because after a while, I think you all are decently young. How old are you all? What bracket are we talking about? 22, 23, that bracket? हाँ. So since a really long time now, ever since I am teaching, FY में मैथ्स कंपलसरी कर दिया था. उसके पहले कंपलसरी नहीं था, तो लोग स्किप मारते थे. अब FY में भी मैथ्स कंपलसरी था, तो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट, दो सेम 2 में डेफिनेटली डेरिवेटिव्स किया है. You've done functions, you've done average cost functions, you've done marginal cost functions, you've done average total cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost, ये सब functions कर चुके. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to start with basic derivatives. After basic derivatives, we are going to come to functions, and after functions, I'm going to bring both of them together. Is this clear? In your notebooks, everyone, let us begin. Chalo, shall we? The Bible, which is the basic formula of derivatives. Where they come from, what they mean, what they are, is none of your business right now. Right now, all you will do is write down the formulas. Understanding them will come later. I want you to understand. I want you to know how to derive stuff, and then I will tell you what it means. So for now, you will only and only understand एक function को derive कैसे किया जाता है. Derivation का मतलब क्या होता है? What it means, what application it has, everything later. So function and its derivative. If the function is a constant, the derivative is 0. If the function is only x, the derivative is 1. If the function is x raised to n, the derivative is nx raised to n minus 1. If the function is e raised to x, the derivative is e raised to x. If the function is log x, the derivative is 1 upon x. If the function is root x, the derivative is 1 upon 2 root x. If the function is a raised to x की जरूरत नहीं है वैसे, but लिख ही लो. If the function is a raised to x, the derivative is a raised to x log a. On a fresh page, give it a heading called derivatives, और ये लिख लो please. Function and the derivative of the function. रिमोट दिख रहा है प्रोजेक्टर का? दिखिए तो मैंने कर दिया मैंने. नहीं है ना? Anyway, chalo, done. Again, what it means, where it comes from, how to apply it, not your problem. I want you to, for now, only and only understand the scripting. Suppose there is a function y, and the value of y is only 7, a constant term. Y always and always takes one value, and that is 7, और कोई value नहीं लेता. And if I ask you to differentiate this function with respect to x, again, what it means later. Right now, only and only scripting. If I want you to differentiate with respect to x, then you will say the derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of 7. How do you read this? The derivative of y with respect to x is the derivative of 7 with respect to x. It's like saying taking root on both sides. It's like saying multiplying by 3 on both sides. It's like saying taking log on both sides. वैसे मैंने क्या किया है? I have taken a derivative on both sides. Now, when you take a derivative of y with respect to x, it is written as dy by dx. Pronounced as dy by dx, pronounced as derivative of y with respect to x is equal to derivative of 7 with respect to x. Let's go back. 7 is a constant value, and derivative of a constant is always and always equal to 0. And that is why the value of dy by dx is 0. So if y is 7, dy by dx is 0. What if the function y is only x, not 7, it is equal to x? तो जो value x लेगा वही value y लेगा. And I ask you to differentiate with respect to x. Again, differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of x. Derivative of y with respect to x is derivative of x with respect to x. Let's go back. If the function is x, the derivative is 1. So the value of dy by dx is equal to 1. So if y is x, then dy by dx is 1. What if the function y is not x? What if the function y is x raised to 5? Again, what do you want me to do? I want you to differentiate this with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of x raised to 5. Derivative of y with respect to x is x raised to 5. If my function is x raised to n, what does this represent? The n represents some constant value. x raised to 2 हो सकता है, 3 हो सकता है, 2.5 हो सकता है, 5/2 हो सकता है, 3/8 हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. Any constant number here. What logic do you use? The derivative of x raised to n is nx raised to n minus 1. What does that mean? Well, what it means is when you have x cube, your n is 3. This is how I try to remember it, not as nx raised to n minus 1. Now, obviously, because I've done this for such a long time, wo ratta ho gaya hai. But initially, I used to try to remember it as power. This is the power comes in product. So power comes in product, power minus 1. Power comes in product, power minus 1. So if I have x raised to 5, I will write this as power comes in product, power minus 1. So 5 comes in the product, 5 minus 1. So the value of dy by dx becomes equal to 5x raised to 4. What if my function y is root of x? Now technically na, root of x, laws of indices, thoda bahut aata hai. Roots are also powers, correct? If you are asking me root of x, you know root of x is also looked at as x raised to half. Everybody knows this? Yes or no? बिना foundation वाले हो क्या? Direct entry? No wonder. Whenever anything has a power, the power remains in the power. Root goes into the denominator of the power. तो अगर x cube का square root ले रहे हो, this is nothing else but x raised to 3/2. Square root है ना, तो नीचे चला जाता है. अगर x cube का cube root ले रहे हो, क्या होता है? Cube and cube root nullify होता है, ऐसा बोलते हैं ना हम लोग. We say cube और cube root ले रहे हो, तो nullify होके क्या बचता है? x. But what actually happens is, this is x raised to 3 and cube root है तो divide by 3. And then 3 cancels and this becomes x raised to 1. And that is why we say 3 cancel हो जाता है. किसी भी number का cube करके cube root लेते हो, तो it nullifies the effect. If this is x का 5th power और मैं 4th root ले रहा हूँ, so this becomes x raised to 5/4. The power goes as the power and the root goes into the denominator of the power. So if it is square root of x में x has the power 1, क्योंकि यहां power नहीं है, तो the power is 1. और क्या ले रहे हो? Square root. Square root is second root. तो second root लिखते नहीं हम, सिर्फ root का साइन डाल देते हैं, because that's the first root you ever take, that root goes into the denominator of the power. So then y is x raised to half. So agar y root x hai, then y is x raised to half. And now if you want me to differentiate it, I will say differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of x raised to half. Derivative of y with respect to x is, isn't this x raised to n? अब वो half है, but anyway number ही है ना. And what is the derivative of x raised to n? It is n x raised to n minus 1. So derivative of x raised to half is half x raised to half minus 1. So derivative of y with respect to x is half into x raised to half minus 1. आधे में से एक निकालोगे या आधे में से एक सब्ट्रैक्ट करोगे, तो बेसिकली एक में से आधा सब्ट्रैक्ट करते हो तो आधा बचता है, पर यहां उल्टा सब्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे हो तो माइनस आधा बचेगा. और इन अदर वर्ड्स 2 ones are 2, 1 minus 2 is minus 1 by 2. Now again a little bit of laws of indices. What? In the next step, इसको हम dy by dx is half. ये नेगेटिव है पावर. Any number can be shifted from the numerator to the denominator और पावर पॉजिटिव कर सकते हो. तो अगर x raised to minus 3 है तो ये एक्चुअली 1 upon x raised to 3 होता है. x raised to minus 10 है तो ये 1 upon x raised to 10 होता है. तो अगर x raised to minus half है तो ये 1 upon x raised to half होता है. In the next step, this will become dy by dx is half 1 upon. Isn't x raised to half root x? Then doesn't dy by dx become 1 upon 2 root x? Is that right? But henceforth ये सब करोगे नहीं. You will directly remember the derivative. That derivative of root x is 1 upon 2 root x. But you understand where it comes from? It comes from the power-based simplification. So derivative of root x becomes 1 upon 2 root x. Next, what if your function y is? Log of x. Again, differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of log of x. So derivative of y with respect to x is derivative of log x is क्या है? 1 by x. Then the function log x derived becomes 1 by x. Derivative of, if my function y is e raised to x, differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of e raised to x. Derivative of y with respect to x is e raised to x ka derivative e raised to x. And lastly, what if my function y is a raised to x? Differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of a raised to x. So dy by dx becomes derivative of a raised to x is a raised to x log of a. Again, what they mean, what implications do they have, not your problem for the time being. All I want you to understand is the scripting. Once we are done with deriving a certain number of functions, I will tell you what a derivative means to the core of it. Is this clear? लिखना चालू कर दो प्लीज फटाफट. Is this big enough या छोटा है बहुत? चलेगा ना? Am I audible now? Right. एक लास्ट चीज ऐड कर दो इन द फॉर्मूला. आई फॉरगॉट टू ऐड दिस. डेरिवेटिव ऑफ 1 अपॉन x इज -1 अपॉन x स्क्वायर. एंड वो एक लास्ट ही बचता है, वो एक लिख लेते हैं so that I can move on to the next level. If my function y is 1 upon x, again differentiating with respect to x, तो actually होता क्या है? Before differentiating, let's make a few changes in x. Before differentiating, I'll show you the last part. Give me 2 minutes. Y is a 1 upon x है ये. Can I say x has a power 1? तो अगर उसको ऊपर लिख दूं तो क्या हो जाता है ये? x raised to -1. बराबर. And now if I differentiate this, I will differentiate this assuming that this is x raised to n. So d by dx of y is d by dx of x raised to -1. In the next step, dy by dx is derivative of x raised to n is n x raised to n -1, which is -1 into x raised to -1 is -2. And what is x raised to -2? Well, in the denominator, it is x square. But will we do this anymore? No. Jahan 1 upon x dikha, we will directly write down that the derivative of 1 upon x is -1 upon x square. This is clear? एक last चीज लिख लो, and then we can move on to the next part. लिख लो जिसका जो बाकी था वो. लास्ट पार्ट जो चाहिए था आपको. ऑनलाइन वालों, anybody still writing? One in the chat box if anybody is still writing, or I'll continue. Fine. Everybody is okay with this up till now? Sure? Obviously, हमारा function y हमेशा इतना simple होने वाला नहीं है. What we are going to do now is, we are going to start adding one problem at a time. कि फिर ये होगा तो क्या करें? Like for example, my function y is 7 or let's say 5x. So I know the derivative of x is 1. But 5x का derivative क्या है ये मुझे पता नहीं है. So 1 or 2 questions I'm going to do in complete detail. उसके बाद we are going to apply a rule. If you ask me to differentiate this, I will say I am differentiating this with respect to x. The derivative with respect to x of y is the derivative with respect to x of 5x. In the next step, derivative with respect to x of y is dy by dx. अब डेरिवेटिव क्या बोला, यू हैव टू डिराइव 5 times x ना, derivative of 5 times x is the same as 5 times derivative of x. तो अगर आपके फंक्शन के साथ कोई एक कांस्टेंट वैल्यू है तो कांस्टेंट वैल्यू बाहर निकल जाएगी. But then you said 1 minute, sir, derivative of a constant is 0. Understand the difference between the two. Constant अगर सिर्फ 5 होता तो डेरिवेटिव 0. बट ये सिर्फ 5 है क्या? ये 5 x के साथ है. So it is not a constant. It is scaling the variable x 5 times. So it is not a constant. It is a coefficient with your variable. तो अगर सिर्फ कांस्टेंट होता, अगर सिर्फ 5 होता ना, तो मैं बोल देता डेरिवेटिव 0 है. बट अगर 5x है तो आई विल से कि वो 5 बाहर निकलता है एंड डेरिवेटिव ऑफ 5 टाइम्स x इज द सेम एज 5 टाइम्स डेरिवेटिव ऑफ x. सो इन द नेक्स्ट स्टेप dy by dx becomes 5 into derivative of x. What is derivative of x? 1. So the value of dy by dx becomes 5. So let's do one more then. What if my function y is 3 times x raised to 4? So I will say differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 3 times x raised to 4 or 3x raised to 4. Derivative of y with respect to x is 3 is a constant value, but it's not a constant currently. It is with a variable. So the entire value 3x raised to 4 is a variable. So 3 is not an independent constant. It's a dependent constant. It depends on the value of x raised to 4. So अगर ऐसे फंक्शन को डिराइव करना है तो कांस्टेंट डिराइव नहीं होता, x raised to 4 डिराइव होता है. तो कांस्टेंट को बाहर निकाल लो and say derivative of 3 raised to 4, 3x raised to 4 is 3 times derivative of x raised to 4. Derivative of y with respect to x is 3 times of. Derivative of x raised to 4 is 4x raised to 4 minus 1, which is 3. So the derivative of y with respect to x is 3 fours are 12x cube. Is that okay? Can I do one more then? And then generalize this. What if my function y is 4 log x? So it is not only log x, it is 4 times of log x. Then I will say differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 4 log x. So derivative of y with respect to x is 4 times log x. 4 comes out. Derivative of log x. What is derivative of log x? So dy by dx is 4 log x is 1 by x. So dy by dx is 4 by x. Is this clear? This is the second thing that I want you to understand. अगर फंक्शन किसी कांस्टेंट के साथ है तो कांस्टेंट डेरिवेटिव के बाहर आ जाता है. ओनली एंड ओनली वेरिएबल डिराइव होता है, द कांस्टेंट कम्स आउट. लिख लो फटाफट. In the meantime, any questions if you have, drop them in the chat box, please. ऑनलाइन वालों डन? एवरीवन स्टिल इट्स टाइम टू राइट? Done, yeah, needs time to write. Can I have a 1 in the chat box if you need time to write? 1 in the chat box if you need time to write. Chalo. What if my function is not as simple as y is 3x or 4x? But what if it is a sum or a difference of 2, 3 variables? What does that mean? What if my function y is x plus 7? Then how do I derive this? Step 1. Differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of x plus 7. Now derivative of y I know, dy by dx. What is derivative of x plus 7? Absolutely no idea. I know derivative of x is 1. I know derivative of 7 is 0. I don't know what to do with x plus 7. हाँ 7x होता ना तो मैं बोल देता x बाहर निकाल दो. Because derivative of 7 times x is the same as 7 times derivative of x. Instead of multiplying the x by 7 and then deriving it, पहले x को derive कर लो और फिर 7 के साथ multiply कर देना. Both mean the same. Unfortunately, I don't know what to do with the plus sign. So this is what we do. Derivatives splits over a plus or a minus sign. Meaning, if you give me a function which is y is u plus minus v plus minus w plus minus z, अगर आपने मुझे ऐसा कोई function दिया that is adding and subtracting, then differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of u plus minus v plus minus w plus minus z. Then the derivative of y with respect to x is derivative splits over positive and negative signs. Meaning, instead of adding and subtracting the function and then deriving it, I will first derive it and then add or subtract it. This is as good as deriving u with respect to x, then add or subtract the derivative of v with respect to x, then add or subtract the derivative of w with respect to x, and then add or subtract the derivative of z with respect to x. Or in other words, the derivative splits over this plus sign and becomes derivative with respect to x of x plus derivative with respect to x of 7. The derivative of y with respect to x is derivative of x is 1, derivative of 7 is 0. Then the value of dy by dx becomes 1. Is this understood? I hope this is not going too fast for anyone. Write this down, please. And I'm sorry I forgot to kind of mention, but I should have. मैं ना यूजुअली आगे 4-5 पेज छोड़ने बोल देता हूँ ताकि फिर अब जो बेसिक्स लिखेंगे ना that we will keep going back and writing there ताकि सब फिर एक पेज पे हो जाए. So along with the formulas, I would have preferred if this was also on the first page. अगर नहीं है तो अब एक काम कर लो, यहीं पे लिख लो और इसके बाद चाहिए तो एक 3-4 पेज छोड़ दो. So everything will become in one place. लिख लो. अब इस पे थोड़े क्वेश्चंस करते हैं. ऑनलाइन वालों, एनीबडी स्टिल राइटिंग? चलो देन. So now let's do a few functions like this, which is what if under add subtract हो रहा है. What if y is x cube plus x square minus 15. So I will say differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of x cube plus x square minus 15. Derivative splits over the positive and the negative sign. So I will get dy by dx is derivative with respect to x of x cube plus derivative with respect to x of x square minus derivative with respect to x of 15. dy by dx is derivative of x cube. Isn't it x raised to n? And derivative of x raised to n is n x raised to n minus 1. Derivative of x square n x raised to 2 minus 1. अब 2 minus 1 क्या होता है? 1. तो technically 1 लिखो, नहीं लिखो, doesn't matter. Minus. Derivative of 15 is a constant. Derivative of a constant is 0. So dy by dx is 3x square plus 2x minus 0. So I stop at 3x square plus 2x. What if my function looks somewhat on the lines of y is equal to x raised to 5 plus log x plus root x plus 17. Well, I will say differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of x raised to 5 plus log of x plus root of x plus 17. So, derivative of y with respect to x is derivative with respect to x of x raised to 5 plus derivative with respect to x of log x plus derivative with respect to x of root x plus derivative with respect to x of 17. Why? Derivative splits over positive and negative signs. So dy by dx is derivative of x raised to 5 is x raised to n, n x raised to n minus 1. Derivative of log x, 1 upon x. Derivative of root x, 1 upon 2 root x. Derivative of 17 is 0. So dy by dx is 5x raised to 4 plus 1 upon x plus 1 upon 2 root x. Is that clear? लिख लो ये दो. I'm doing very basic derivatives. So if there is still a doubt, feel free to ask. Online walo, one in the chat box if anybody is still writing. One if anyone is still writing. चलो shall we? Similar lines पे एक और दो और कर लेते हैं. And then we will add something new to this. What if your function y is x raised to 7 plus x raised to 4 minus e raised to x plus a raised to x minus log of x plus 13. So I will say differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of x raised to 7 plus x raised to 4 minus e raised to x plus a raised to x minus log x plus 13. Again, derivative splits over positive and negative signs. So dy by dx is d by dx of x raised to 7, d by dx of x raised to 4 minus d by dx of e raised to x plus d by dx of a raised to x minus d by dx of log x plus d by dx of 13, which in the next step becomes dy by dx is derivative of x raised to 7 is 7x raised to 6. Derivative of x raised to 4 is 4x cubed. Derivative of e raised to x is e raised to x. Derivative of a raised to x is a raised to x log a. Derivative of log x is 1 upon x and derivative of 13 is 0. So exclude the 13 and dy by dx is the same entire function but without the 0. देख लो फटाफट. Done? Everyone? Can I add something else to this now? What if now my function is not? Batata. We'll add that problem later. What if my function now y is equal to 4x square minus 6x plus 13? One step at a time. You want me to derive this? Differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of what? 4x square minus 6x plus 13. Step 1. Derivative splits over positive and negative signs. So this will become dy by dx is derivative with respect to x of 4x square minus derivative with respect to x of 6x plus derivative with respect to x of 13. So derivative splits over positive and negative signs. In the next step, dy by dx is derivative of 4x square. 4 is a constant, doesn't derive. But it is an independent constant? No, it is dependent on x square. उसे बाहर निकाल लो, सिर्फ x square derive होगा, 4 derive नहीं होगा. 4 into the derivative of x square minus 6 into the derivative of x plus the derivative of 13. I know it's 0, but सब एक साथ derive कर रहा हूं. In the next step, I will say that derivative of y with respect to x is 4. Derivative of x square is x raised to n, which is n x raised to n minus 1. Minus 6. Derivative of x is 1. 13, 0. Then can I say dy by dx is 4 to the 8x minus 6. So the derivative of the function 4x square minus 6x plus 13 is 8x minus 6. I want to do enough questions जिससे orally आप यहां से यहां आ जाओ. ये सब लिखने की जरूरत ना पड़े, because very honestly कोई पूछता नहीं है ये कहां से आया. So henceforth, in a few more questions and a few more lectures, यहाँ से direct यहाँ where you know कि 4x square minus 6x plus 13 है, तो 4 बाहर आ जाएगा. Derivative of x square is 2x, तो 4 to the 8x हो जाता है. 6x का derivative 6 and 13 का derivative 0. Is this clear? Write this down, please. Now let's do a few on this type. राहुल, are you trying to say कि साथ में आ जाता है मतलब मल्टीप्लाई होता है, तो मतलब अगर a raised to x into log x होगा तो क्या होगा? Is that what you mean? So that comes under a section called product rule. तो जब वो ये करेंगे तब कर देंगे और थोड़ी देर बाद, once we are a little more comfortable with this. चल भी चलो, let's do a few questions in this respect then. What if my function y is 18x square minus 2 log x plus 4 root x? I will say differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 18x square minus 2 log x plus 4 root x. Derivative of y with respect to x is derivative splits over the positive and negative sign. Derivative of 18x square minus derivative of 2 log x plus derivative of 4 root x. So this is derivative of y with respect to x is 18 comes out, derivative of x square, minus 2 comes out, derivative of log x, 4 comes out, derivative of root x. In the next step, dy by dx is 18, derivative of x square is 2x, minus 2, derivative of log x is 1 by x, plus 4, derivative of root x is 1 by 2 root x. अब यहां ये 2 और ये 4 कैंसिल हो जाता है, तो बचता क्या है? बचता है ये ऐसा दिखता है ना, इज गुड इनफ, तो फिर उसी के नीचे लिख देता हूं. तो बचता है डेरिवेटिव ऑफ y with respect to x is 18 2s are 36x minus 2 by x plus 2 by root x is going to be the derivative of the function 18x square minus 2 log x plus 4 times of root x. Write that down for me, please. Online वालों, anybody still writing? One in the chat box if anybody is still writing. चलो then. What if the function is y is 15x square minus 2 by x plus 14a raised to x plus 30. Differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 15x square minus 2 by x plus 14a raised to x plus 30. In the next step, derivative splits over positive and negative signs. So I get dy by dx is derivative with respect to x of 5x square minus derivative with respect to x of 2 by x plus derivative with respect to x of 14a raised to x plus derivative with respect to x of 30. Sorry. In the next step, dy by dx is 15x square में 15 constant है, 15 comes out. Derivative of x square. 2 by x में 2 constant है. Whether it is, wherever it is, you pull it out. Derivative of 1 by x. Plus 14 comes out. Derivative of a raised to x. Plus derivative of 30. In the next step, derivative of y with respect to x is 15. Derivative of x square is 2x minus 2. Derivative of 1 by x is minus 1 by x square plus 14. और ये ब्रैकेट में डालना क्योंकि ये मल्टीप्लाई होगा बाद में. 14 derivative of a raised to x is a raised to x log a. Derivative of 30 is 0. Derivative of y with respect to x is 15 2s is 30x minus minus plus 2 by x square plus 14 a raised to x log a plus 0. So that I do not need to write. Clear? Write that down, please. Yes, Rahul, is there a reason why you raised your hand? Or was it by mistake? I will not be able to listen to what you are saying, Rahul, because my laptop does not have speakers and I'm not on earphones. So if you could type it out, that would be great. So do you want an explanation from A, B to C? You want an explanation from A to B or B to C or just the simplification of B? So here, wherever there is a constant, we pull it out. Keep the variable inside. Derivative of 15x square is 15 times derivative of x square. Derivative of 2 by x is 2 times derivative of 1 by x. Derivative of 14 a raised to x is 14 times derivative of a raised to x. And lastly, derivative of 30 is derivative of 30. Now, 15 stays out. Derivative of x square is 2x. 2 stays out. Derivative of 1 by x is minus 1 by x square. 14 stays out. Derivative of a raised to x is a raised to x log a. And derivative of 30 is 0. Is there a specific part you had a problem with? Is that okay then? Can we move on? Is there a specific step in this that you had a problem with? So you want to know derivative of 1 by x? Or do you want to know how did 2 by x become 1 by x? X or y? If the function is 1 by x, the actual derivative goes like this. Derivative of 1 by x is written as x raised to minus 1, then derived with the x raised to n rule. And then what you get is minus 1 by x square. But what we are going to do henceforth is, we are not going to do that. We are directly going to remember that derivative of 1 by x is minus 1 by x square. So wherever you are asked to derive 1 by x, the derivative of 1 by x will directly be written as minus 1 by x square. So here also derivative of 1 by x is minus 1 upon x square. Chalo. Let's do one more. What if the function y is 8x cube minus 12x square plus 6 raised to x plus root of x upon 3 plus 4. Differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 8x cube minus 12x square plus 6 raised to x plus root x by 3 plus 4. Derivative of y with respect to x is, derivative splits over the positive and the negative signs. So in the next step, derivative with respect to x of 8x cube minus derivative with respect to x of 12x square plus derivative with respect to x of 6 raised to x plus derivative with respect to x of root x by 3 plus derivative with respect to x of 4. I've done nothing. I've only and only split the derivative over the positive and the negative sign. Derivative of y with respect to x is 8 बाहर आ जाता है, derivative of x cube minus 12 बाहर आ जाता है, derivative of x square plus 6 raised to x. अब यहां पे 6 बाहर नहीं आ सकता because 6 raised to x, x is raised, 6 is raised to the x. वो 6 अलग से बाहर नहीं निकलता. So a lot of people make that mistake of removing the 6 outside and writing x. गलत है वो. 6 raised to x is 6 raised to x. उसका कुछ नहीं होता. This remains as derivative of 6 raised to x plus root x divided by 3. Can I say 1 by 3 बाहर आ सकता है फिर? Derivative of root x plus derivative of 4. So dy by dx is 8. Derivative of x cube is 3x square 12. Derivative of x square is 2x plus 6 raised to x is of the type a raised to x, and derivative of a raised to x is a raised to x log a. So 6 raised to x log 6. 1 upon 3. Derivative of root x is 1 upon 2 root x. और वो 1 by 3 से मल्टीप्लाई होगा. Derivative of 4 is 0. Derivative of y with respect to x is 8 3s are 24x square, 12 2s are 24x, 6 raised to x log 6 remains as and how it is. 1 into 1, 1. 3 2s are 6 root x plus 0. That is it. I hope this is not going too fast for anyone. Done? Anyone still writing? Online walo? Anybody still writing? One in the chat box if anybody is still writing. Fine then. I'm giving you 10-15 minutes. I want you to derive all these functions for me. Begin, please. Whatever, if you can, if you cannot, whatever you can, do it. I'll do it for you later. But I want everybody to give it an honest attempt. Yes, Shivraj, you can directly jump to the last step if you want to. If you can, rather. Chalo. I think that should be enough time. Online walo, anybody still needs time to finish? Or I will start. Chalo then, very quickly. Let's come to the first function. If y is given by, am I not audible to everyone? Then there must be a problem at your end. Fine. Step 1, differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 3x square minus 18 by x plus log of x by 2 plus 10. So the derivative of y with respect to x is derivative with respect to x of 3x square minus derivative with respect to x of 18 by x plus derivative with respect to x of log x upon 2 plus derivative with respect to x of 10. In the next step, I will say derivative of y with respect to x is 3 out, derivative of x square minus 18 out, derivative of 1 by x plus 2 out पर denominator में, so half out, derivative of log x plus derivative of 10. So derivative of y with respect to x is 3. Derivative of x square is 2x minus 18. Derivative of 1 upon x is minus 1 upon x square. Half derivative of log x is 1 by x. Derivative of 10 is 0. So dy by dx is 6x minus minus plus 18 by x square plus 1 into 1 is 1, 2 into x is 2x. So the derivative must be 6x plus 18 by x square plus 1 by 2x. Does everybody have this? Anybody's made any mistakes? If yes, make sure you rectify them. Make a note as to what mistake you've made and don't repeat it again. Online walo, does everybody have this? Perfect. Let's come to function number 2. And that is y is 10x raised to 7 plus 6 e raised to x plus 5x square plus 12. Differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 10x raised to 7, 6e raised to x, 5 by 2x square plus 12. So I will say derivative of y with respect to x is derivative with respect to x of 10x raised to 7 plus derivative with respect to x of 6e raised to x minus derivative with respect to x of 5 by 2 x square plus derivative with respect to x of 12. In the next step, derivative of y with respect to x is 10 derivative of x raised to 7 plus 6 derivative of e raised to x minus 5 by 2 बाहर आ जाएगा derivative of x square plus derivative of 12. So dy by dx is 10. Derivative of x raised to 7 is 7x raised to 6. Nx raised to n minus 1 plus 6. Derivative of e raised to x is e raised to x minus 5 by 2. Derivative of x square is 2x plus derivative of 12 is 0. Now, this 2 and this 2 cancels. So you have dy by dx is 10 into 7 is 70x raised to 6 plus 6e raised to x minus 5x plus 0. Is this what you have? Sure. That is question number 2. Let's come to question number 3. The question says, y is 4x cube minus 8 raised to x by 3 plus 4 by x minus 16. Differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 4x cube minus 8 raised to x by 3 plus 4 by x minus 16. Derivative of y with respect to x is derivative with respect to x of 4x cube minus derivative with respect to x of 8 raised to x by 3 plus derivative with respect to x of 4 by x minus derivative with respect to x of 16. So, derivative of y with respect to x is derivative of 4x cube is 4 times derivative of x cube minus derivative of 8 raised to x by 3 is 1 by 3 derivative of 8 raised to x plus derivative of 4 by x is 4 times derivative of 1 by x minus derivative of 16. In the next step, derivative of y with respect to x is 4. Derivative of x cube is 3x square minus 1 by 3. Derivative of 8 raised to x is 8 raised to x log a. 4 upon derivative of, or 4 into derivative of 1 upon x is minus 1 upon x square. Derivative of 16 is 0. Derivative of y with respect to x is 12x square minus 8 raised to x log a divided by 3 plus minus this is going to be 4 upon x square. That's it. This is what the derivative is. Log 8 हो जाएगा ये, बराबर है 8 raised to x log 8. Done. That is question number 3. Come to question number 4. Step 1, differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 10x square minus root 2 plus 16 log x plus 8. So I will say dy by dx is derivative with respect to x of 10x square minus derivative with respect to x of root 2 plus derivative with respect to x of 16 log x plus derivative with respect to x of 8. So, the derivative of y with respect to x is 10 derivative of x square minus derivative of root 2 plus 16 derivative of log x plus derivative of 8. Derivative of y with respect to x is 10. Derivative of x square is 2x minus derivative of root 2 is 1 upon 2 root 2 derivative of root 2 is what? 1 upon 2 root 2. Isn't 2 a constant? Then what is root 2? A constant. What is derivative of a constant? अब बस उस टाइप पे लिख दिया ना तो डिराइव करते ही जाना. You can only derive x. Does this have x anywhere in it? Then it's a constant. वो रूट में लिख दिया इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि उसको रूट x का रूल अप्लाई कर दो. Is this clear to everyone? 100% sure. So root of 2 is a constant. अगर ये root of x होता तो बात अलग थी. It is not root of x, it is root of 2. And since 2 is a constant, root of 2 is also a constant value. It is not a variable value. Derive सिर्फ variable होता है. Constants derive नहीं होते. The derivative of the constant is 0. Plus 16. Derivative of log x is 1 by x. Derivative of 8, 0. Why? 8 is a constant. So the derivative of y with respect to x is 20x minus 0 plus 16 by x. And this should be your final answer. Is this clear? Quickly moving on to question number 5. Y is given by this function. I will say differentiating with respect to x. Derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 18x cube minus the log of 24 plus 16. Derivative of y with respect to x is derivative with respect to x of 18x cube minus derivative with respect to x of log of 24 plus derivative with respect to x of 16. Derivative of y with respect to x is 18 out, derivative of x cube minus derivative of log of 24 plus derivative of 16. Derivative of y with respect to x is 18. Derivative of x cube is 3x square. Derivative of log of 24 is 1 upon 24. 24 is a constant, then log of 24 is a constant value, and derivative of a constant is 0 plus derivative of 16 0 constant है. So dy by dx is, what is dy by dx? 18 threes are 54 x square. That's it. Let's come to the last function. It says y is equal to differentiating with respect to x, derivative with respect to x of y is derivative with respect to x of 3x cube minus 9x square plus 1 upon 9x minus 3 square. Derivative of y with respect to x is derivative with respect to x of 3x cube minus derivative with respect to x of 9x square plus derivative with respect to x of 1 upon 9x, and lastly minus derivative with respect to x of 3 square. In the next step, derivative of y with respect to x is 3 out, derivative of x cube minus 9 out, derivative of x square plus ये 9 भी बाहर आएगा, तो 1 upon 9 derivative of 1 upon x minus the derivative of 3 square. Now we can start deriving. Dy by dx is 3. Derivative of x square is 3x square minus 9. Derivative of x square is 2x. 1 upon 9. Derivative of 1 by x is minus 1 by x square minus derivative of 3 square is 2 into 3 raised to 1. 3 is a constant, 3 square is a constant. Derivative of a constant is 0. Dy by dx is 9x square minus 18x minus 1 upon 9x square. Do you have that? Fantastic. With this, basic derivatives is covered. Whenever we meet next, what we are going to do is now understand what this means. If you give me a function y and I derive it, what does it signify? Meaning, if I give you a function, simple function y, 3x square minus 2x plus 18, and I derive it and write this as 6x minus 2, what is it telling me? What does the derivative of this function being this function signify to me? What information about this function is the derivative trying to give me? Is this clear to everyone? I will send a few more questions on the group. If you can sit and practice, that would be great till the time we meet next. Is that okay? Thank you very much. Bye. Online walo, anybody any doubts? Anybody any questions? Feel free to drop them in the chat box. I'll wait for another few minutes. Done? Chalo, nobody any doubts? Sure. Can we wrap up then? Online walo, No doubts? Can we wrap up then? Fine then. Thank you very much. Bye.